Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to Tuition Masters. And today we are here with doing your session 1 for grade 10 SST, that is Sectors of Indian Economy. So, this chapter is a little bit lengthy, chapter. So, today we are going to do session 1. In our upcoming sessions, we'll complete the full chapter. Okay? This is economics chapter we have taken. It is a very important chapter for our boards as well. So, that is why I've picked up this chapter, that is Sectors of Indian Economy. In this, we focus mostly about in India, what are the different sections through which people get their earning, and how they put the value and their part in the national income as well, isn't it? So today is a session number 1. Okay, so what are we going to study? As you know, we are going to do, I'll tell you the contents first. We're going to study about sectors of the economic activities. We will compare the three different types of sectors and the historical changes between them, and primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors in India as well. So these are the three topics we have to cover in a today's session. Make sure to like this video, stay tuned till the end of the video so that you can get full information, make notes out of it, and make sure to subscribe the channel as well. Let us start with the very first topic, that is sectors of economic activities. Now, when we talk about economic activities in any country, there are three types of economic activity which stay. What is economic activity? The activity which results in getting some income. Those activities are known as economical activities. In any country, we have three types. First is the primary sector. Okay, so there are three sectors of economic activities. First is primary, second is secondary sector, and third is the tertiary sector. These are the three sectors through which economic activities occur and we get money, we get income from these, any of these three, but you get income from all of these. Talking about primary sector first, when we produce goods by exploiting natural resources, it is the activity of primary sector. Primary sector is nothing but the very basic part, the foundation, you can say. Okay, so collecting the raw materials, correct, collecting raw materials, then collecting of raw materials is the main thing in primary sector. When you produce goods by exploiting and using natural resources, what are the examples of primary sector? Agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, fishing, poultry, farming, and mining. All of these activity include are there in primary sector. Now let's take an example of fishing. In fishing, what are you doing? We are taking the raw material, that is the fish. We are hunting fishes, we are exploiting a natural resource. What about agriculture? Agriculture, we are exploiting the soil and water. We are growing plants, again raw material, isn't it? So all those activity in which we collect raw materials by exploiting nature is known as primary sector. Another name of primary sector is agriculture and related sector as well, because agriculture is the major thing which is coming in the mind when we say primary sector. Now, why is it called primary? Correct. Why primary sector is called primary? Why not some other name? Why not agriculture sector, farming sector? Why only primary? There are two reasons for this. First reason is we are directly using natural resources. Okay, natural resources are directly being used. We are not going indirect ways. Like not first we are using some mechanical things, then going in nature. No, directly the natural things we are using. Secondly, it is the base. As I said, the primary sector makes up the foundation for the other two sectors. It is the basic, the base of all the other products and sectors. And even secondary and tertiary depend on primary sector itself. So primary means what? Main. So that is a foundation over here. Okay. Let's move ahead with the secondary sector. Secondary sector, one keyword you should remember in secondary sector, that is manufacturing. The main keyword in secondary sector should be manufacturing. Now, in primary sector, we collected everything by exploiting the nature. We took all the natural products, the raw materials we collected, isn't it? Now, that raw material is changed into other forms through the ways of manufacturing. Correct? Now, for example, I want to make paper. For making paper, I cut the wood. Okay, the wood is cut now. We get the bark. That is the primary function, primary sector. But now I have to produce it. I have to manufacture it into a paper. That work is done in the secondary sector. There are no examples. It only the main example is manufacturing and constructing activities. That is only the secondary sector. Other name of it is also industrial sector, because all industry thing, machines, factories, everything is used over here only. Okay, for example, you get food outside, isn't it? You in malls, or when you go to a restaurant, you get food. Do you get ready made food, isn't it? But how is that food made? By collecting the raw material is collected, they are farmed primary, then they manufacture, as in they prepare the food and give you. That is secondary sector. Okay, last sector is the tertiary sector. Tertiary, now what you have to remember here, the keyword here is servicing. Okay, the main keyword here is servicing. Why? Let us understand. Basically, these activities, they do not produce any goods. No, no goods are produced here, nothing is collected here, but it is a support for the production processes. Now, for example, let us say that you want to buy clothes. You want to buy clothes. Now, how are clothes made? First of all, what will happen? Cotton will be collected. Correct? Let's say you're taking a cotton t-shirt. Cotton will be collected and cultivated. Primary sector. Then in the secondary sector, it will be manufactured into the cloth. Now, how do you know that is the cloth? Where can I get it? So there will be advertisements for that, isn't it? So the production process is done by the tertiary sector. All different types of services like transportation, education, banking, health, tourism, all of these are included in the tertiary sector, which means here you're doing the production process. The thing is ready. Secondary sector mein thing is ready. Now you have to even produce it, right? You have to give it. So for that we use the tertiary sector. Other name is service sector. You should remember all the different names. Primary sector is known as agriculture and related sector. Secondary sector is known as industrial sector, and tertiary sector is known as service sector. All right. Now let's move towards the second topic, that is comparing the three sectors and historical change in the sectors as well. Let us understand about this. Now, what are the parameters for comparing this? There are three sectors we have. Now, if I want to compare that, what parameters I should use? There should be some base, right, on which basis I can compare it. First one, how much goods and services are produced? Based on the three sectors, which has more goods, more services produced. Secondly, how many people work in each economic sector? All of them wouldn't have the same amount of people, right? Everyone would have different. So how many people work in each of them? Which have more, which has less? So let us try to compare the three sectors. Now, all the three sectors produce a very large number of goods and services, isn't it? Primary sector, let's say agriculture. Two in a large number of goods are it is cultivations, and in secondary large amount of goods is produced, and then through large amount of services the things are sold. So both all the sectors produce large amount of goods as well as services. Large number of people also work here, because doing the servicing, producing the goods is not a one hand job, right? You need many people to do it, so many people do work. Now, every good that is produced, sold, and need not to be counted. So everything which is produced and sold, everything we cannot count it, isn't it? We will only measure the value of goods and services. Only final goods and services are taken into account. There are so many things sold, we can't start counting each of them. We only take the final goods and services, and then we take it in one single account and we compare. out of the three sectors which has more work done, correct? Now, let's say value of final goods. What is this final goods and services? Correct? Now, look over here. You go in, let's say, a grocery store, you get a biscuit, isn't it? Now, in the farm or any factory, is the biscuit directly produced? We use something, for example, we use soda, we use salt, we use butter, we use cinnamon, we use vinegar, oil, many things we use, isn't it? Many things are used for a biscuit. Now, if I start taking that we took a soda also, we took vinegar also, we took butter also, that doesn't make any sense. What is the final produce? The final good, the final product is the biscuit. So I will calculate the value of this biscuit, not the value of the ingredients. That is how we calculate the comparison. Now, there comes one term about GDP. What is GDP? That is domestic product. You might even learn about this in your ninth grade. The value of final goods and service produced in all three sectors during a particular year. Not any month, day, no. In one specific year, how much of goods and services are produced, the value of that in all the three sectors is known as GDP of the country. It is the value of all the final goods and services within a country which is produced. If GDP is more, economy of the country is also more. So GDP refers nothing but the value of the goods and services produced in by the three sectors. Now, what are the historical changes in primary sector? As I said, primary sector refers to the raw materials, correct? Basically, it was developed countries dependent upon primary sector for economic development, correct? So initially, the countries which are developed, okay, the developed countries, developed means they are already developed, correct? They were dependent on primary sector only to increase their economical value. They changed their farming method, and agriculture became a very prosperous and major part in the primary sector as well. More of craft persons and traders increased. By this, economy was also growing. Buying and selling activities increased many times. That means employment also increased. So that was how historically primary sector changed. How about secondary sector? Secondary sector, as you know, refers to manufacturing. So, introduction of new methods of manufacturing. More and more factories were established, and people began to consume more goods. If the demand increases, this is a very important point. When the demand increases, so even the production level, correct, will also increase. Demand goes up, production also goes up. When new farm manufacturing was introduced, factories were established, people started to buy many things, and then even workers started working in factories, and hence secondary sector changed in the manufacturing field. How about tertiary? Servicing sector, isn't it? Now servicing sector become very crucial for total production. It is sold, it not sold, it is made, okay, it is made, the thing is ready, but now how will it go? So many people started getting employed, and this sector is prosperous more in developed nations. When we talk about developed and developing sector, students, developing sectors are rich in primary sectors, whereas developed nations are more prosperous in tertiary and secondary sector. So that is how historically the three sectors have changed. Let us move towards the last topic of the day about primary, secondary, and tertiary, but with respect to India. Look over here. Can you see the GDP produced by these three sectors in year 1973 to 74 and 2013 to 14? If you look carefully, let us not see the rupees and crores. Let us look over here. Can you see primary sector? Correct. Primary sector and tertiary sector were almost very equal, and secondary sector was very less. That means manufacturing of things was very less produced, and overall the GDP was less than 1 crore. isn't it? 1 million. Yeah, it was less than 1 million also. But when you talk about 2013 to 14, can you see the value has reached so high, isn't it? And mostly, can you see that servicing is increased. That is, tertiary sector is more in 2013 to 14 compared to secondary and tertiary, isn't it? So, why is it important to raise tertiary sectors only? Tertiary sectors, as I say, do the servicing things like hospital, education, courts, police, transportation. All of these are services, and it comes in tertiary sector. Development in agriculture and industry leads to development of services also. When agriculture industries are made, someone has to go and sell them, right? That is tertiary. Income level is increase will create more demands for services like eating out, tourism, shopping. Correct, you see that in this mall there is 50% discount. Correct, that is a tertiary sector because you're getting an advertisement, they're doing servicing for you. Correct. Communication and technology, it is very essential again because production of these services has risen. Correct. So that is why tertiary sector, if it grows, the country will be a developed country. Now, where in which sector are the people employed? Look in this chart carefully. The share of sector employment, 75% of people are there in 75 to 60% of people are there in primary sector itself. Why? Employs more than half of the people, that is the primary sector, and secondary and tertiary employs less than half also, because in India primary sector refers to farming and agriculture, which is done in a very large scale in India, which you have already studied in many chapters, isn't it? The shares of primary sector in GDP has declined, but yet also, now look over here. I showed you the GDP chart. Primary sector was so less, correct? But although if it is less, it employs a large number of people. Now, why didn't a similar shift out of primary sector in case of employment? How about employment rates? It is because not enough jobs are created in secondary and tertiary. Okay, secondary and tertiary jobs need proper education and service also. But in farming, you did not need that high level of education. You do not need any degree or something to do farming and everything, correct? Industrial output went by 8 times, but employment went only by 2.5 times. Although industrial output is being more, but the employment level is not rising. Tertiary sector also rose by 11 times, but production is happening great, but employment is rose only less than 3 times. So employment is becoming a problem. Now, there are two types of employment. First is unemployment, correct, and second one is underemployment. What do you mean by that? When I talk about unemployment, means they have no job, jobless people, correct. It is a state where a person wants a job but is unable to find it. It can be due to inflation, drastic change in atmosphere, or even such pandemics. For example, right now, um in a COVID-19 time, people were removed from their countries, right? They were terminated due to the pandemic, correct? No work was happening. That was unemployment. But what is underemployment? Underemployment refers to when there's a mismatch in availability of job opportunity and availability of job skills are required. It refers to when a person who could willingly do full-time job is employed part-time. That means skills and opportunities aren't matching properly. The skills which a person have, but the opportunities, the skills which are needed in the job opportunity, they are not matching. There is invisible underemployment. For example, when an employee in full-time job is not using his skill only, although he has great skills, but even in full-time job he is not using it. That is invisible underemployment. Okay, so you understand what is the difference between un and under. Okay. There is disguised unemployment as well, which is studied in grade 9. For example, let us say there is a person of a female Lakshmi. She has a small unirrigated land. Her land she has, but water is not sufficient. Throughout the year, her whole family works on the same land only. They have one land, so whole family works on that. All are working and no one is sitting idly. But in reality, only labor efforts get divided. So, this is a situation of underemployment where persons are working less than their potential. They're just dividing the labor. Maybe they can do more work, proper work, but they are forced to do this land work. So, with this, students, we have completed with our today's session. So today we discuss about the different sectors in Indian economy as well as how was their historical changes and what are the types of employment, isn't it? I'll be seeing you very soon in our upcoming videos where we are supposed to discuss more about this interesting chapter and it will give you more great idea. So make sure to like this video, share with your friends and subscribe to our channel right away for more interesting content. I'll be seeing you super soon with more exciting videos. Till then, take care and goodbye.